Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Welcome to the session. Can you hear me? If yes, please type yes in the chat box as a confirmation. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Chenna. Thank you, Sai. Thank you all for your confirmations. Let us stop. Thank you, Mike. Let us stop the chat. Well, let us stop the chats. Very, very interesting concepts for today. Very, very important. How to see list of all the files as per the timestamp. How to know the current user using which you are working. What is the difference between dollar prompt and hash prompt? How can we switch from one user to other user? Importance of the keyword sudo. How to know the current date. The most key points of today's session. The takeaway points of today's session are understanding the file permissions. Not only understanding the file permissions, we will learn how can we change the file permissions. File permissions can be changed in two ways. You can follow the numerical notation. You can also follow the alphabetical notation. We will learn both the approaches. We'll learn how can we follow the numerical notation. We will also learn how can we use alphabetical to notation to change the file permissions. So this is our plan for today's session. I hope you are enjoying the training. I hope you have created a Linux machine. I hope you are started practicing. Okay, let's get started. Before moving on, any questions? Any questions on the concepts, what we have learned? Quick recap, what did we learn? We have learned how can we create files, delete files, how can we create directories, how can we delete directories, how can we navigate between the directories, how to copy. So very frequently used options with respect to files and directories. Now today we'll be discussing about dealing with the files and dealing with the understanding the file permissions and changing the file permissions. This is all planned for today's session. So let's start the Linux mission. Let us start the Linux mission. So this is Red Hat Linux. I have created, we have created the Linux mission on VM, powering on the Linux mission. Let's wait for the mission to get started. We are using Red Hat Linux. Let's log in. Do you remember when we have created the mission, we have created a user. The name of the user is Sunil. The password for this particular user, Sunil, is Sunil123 with S capital. I'm logging in to my user. Perfect. This is the Linux dashboard. If you want to communicate to operating system, we need a terminal. We already have learned how to open the terminal. Go to activities. We have an option called terminal. Perfect. So the terminal gets open. You get the dollar prompt. So here in the terminal, we'll be running the Linux commands. Let us increase the font size for better visibility. Let us increase the font size for better visibility. ls to say list of all the files. ls-l for long list to know more details about the date and time when the file has been created, the size of the file, the file permissions, the owner, the group. So whenever you want more information about the file, whenever you want to know more information about the file, ls-l stands for long list, will give you the more information about the file. Now my point is, I want to list the files as per the timestamp. I want to list the files as per the timestamp. What does that mean? The latest file which I have created should be at the top. The oldest file which I have created should be at the bottom. I want to arrange the files. I want to arrange the files. I want to sort the files. I want the latest file which I have created should be at the top. The oldest file should be at the bottom. Whenever you want to sort, whenever you want to arrange the files, when I say files, it also applies for directories also. So whenever you want to see list of all the files as per the timestamp, you have to use an option ls hyphen lt, t for timestamp. Please observe, my dear participants. Please observe the latest file which I have created is F6 is at the top. These are the oldest file oldest directories which we have it at the time of creating the operating system. So these are the order in which the files has been created. So whenever you want to list the files as per the timestamp, whenever you want to list the files as per the timestamp, you have to use ls-lt. So the latest file will be at the top and the oldest file will be at the bottom. Perfect. Okay, next. Clear. To clear the screen. To know the current path using which you are working. To know the current path using which you are working, so we have a command called pwd, stands for print to working directory. We already have learned this command in the previous session. We have learned this command in the previous session. pwd stands for print to working directory, which will show you the current path using which in which you're working. So currently working with /home/Sunil. We are currently working with /home/Sunil. Perfect. Very interesting point. To know the current user, to know the current user using which you have connected to the operating system. To know the current user, we have a command called who am I. We have a command called who am I to know the current user using which you are connected. Do you remember we have connected with Sunil user? If you want to know the current user using which you have connected, we have a command called who am I. It will return the current user. So currently we're working with Sunil user. Okay. So whenever you want to know the current user, whenever you want to know the current user using which you're working, we have a command called who am I, which will show you the current user using which you are connected. So currently I've connected with Sunil user. Perfect. Very, very interesting point. In Linux, there are two types of users. Very, very interesting point. Please listen carefully. There are two types of users in Linux. There are two types of users in Linux. Look at this notes. There are two types of users, normal users and root user. So there are two types of users, normal users and root user. Normal user is indicated with dollar prompt. Normal user is indicated with dollar prompt. The root user is indicated with the hash prompt. Currently, what is the prompt you are experiencing? We are connected to the terminal, right? Currently, what prompt you are experiencing? You are experiencing dollar prompt. That means the current user, Sunil, is a normal user. We have a root user in Linux. The root user is indicated with hash prompt. Root user is a high level user, like an administrator. Root users will have full control on the operating system. Root user can create new users. Root user can do anything. Root user can delete the users. Root user have full permissions with respect to managing the operating system. Normal users will have limited permissions. Normal users are indicated with dollar prompt, whereas a root user is indicated with hash prompt. So Sunil is what user? We are a current user. Currently, we have a command, as I told you, we have a command called who am I. Is a returning Sunil. This is the current user. He's a normal user. How do you identify Sunil is a normal user? Because we are getting a dollar prompt. If we experience a hash prompt, that means you're working with root user. Okay, so there are two types of prompts. There are two types of prompts, dollar prompt and hash prompt. Dollar prompt indicate normal users, whereas hash prompt indicates root user. Clear? Now, after understanding there are two types of users, after listening to this explanation of two types of users, you may have a question. Sunil, how can I switch? You may have a question. Sunil, can we switch from one user to other user? Can we switch? I want to experience root user. You may have a question. I want to experience root user. Can I experience user? You can. You have to switch from the current user. Currently, you're working with which user? Currently, we're working with which user? Sunil user. Now, currently, you're working with Sunil user. You have to switch to root user. When you switch to root user, you get the hash prompt. Can we switch? In Linux, can we switch from one user to other user? Definitely, you can switch it by using the command called su. Full form is switch user. SU stands for switch user. Switch user command will help you to switch from one user to other user. Now tell me, currently you are in Sunil user, and now we want to experience, all of us want to experience hash prompt. All of us wants to experience root user. So let us learn how can we switch from one user to other user. So we have a command called SU stands for switch user. Mention to which user you want to switch. You want to switch to root user. This is the command SU switch user, and mention to which user you want to switch. I want to switch to root user. So this is a command which helps you to switch to root user. Let's learn. Let's experience the switching to root user. So we have a command called SU stands for switch user. And participants, we want to switch to which user? My dear friends, we want to switch to which user? We want to switch to root user. Perfect. When you switch to root user, okay, look at the response of this particular command. It is asking for the password. Yes. Obviously, in Windows also, if you want to switch from one user to other user, you should have a password. Do you have the root user password? Participants, do we have a root user password? We don't have the root user password. So if I'm giving some value, authentication failure, I'm unable to switch. I have shown you how to switch. I have shown you the command how to switch to root user, but we are unable to switch because of the password. But this is the process of switching. This is the process of switching from one user to other user. You can switch to root user by using a command called su switch user. Mention to which user you want to switch. I want to switch to root user. It will ask for the password. If you have the right password, yes, you can switch to root user. That is how you can switch from one user to other user. Am I clear? I have shown you the command which helps you to switch from one user to other user. We have su command stands for switch user, where you can switch to the required user. I want to switch to root user. We are unable to switch because we don't have the password. We are unable to switch because we do not have the password. That's okay. Now, I want to discuss about the importance of, we have learned the difference between dollar prompt and hash prompt. How can we switch from one user to other user? We have learned it. I want to know the importance of this keyword sudo. I want to tell you the importance of sudo keyword. Sudo stands for super user do. It's a very powerful command. It's a powerful command which helps you to do a lot of activities. For example, let's coming to our context. We are unable to switch to root user. We are unable to switch to root user. Am I right? We are unable to switch to root user because we do not have the password. The same command, just before the command, I'm using the word sudo. I'm not disturbing the command. Command is as it is. Just before the command, I'm using the keyword sudo. Sudo is a powerful command which will help you to run the next command even though you don't have the right permissions. You may not have the right privileges. You may not have the right details, but still the command gets executed and you will be switching to root user. But still the command gets executed and you will be successfully switching to root user. Let's experience it. Let's experience it. The same command, su root switch user, the same command, switch user. I want to switch to root user. Just before the command, I'm sorry. Just before the command, I'm using the word sudo, su root. Just I have used the word sudo. Now, what is the power of sudo? What is the power of sudo? Please observe here. Last time when I'm switching to root user, is asking for the password. Now, my dear participants, is password for the Sunil user, not the root user, the current user. The password is SUNIL123, the current user of password. Now, please observe here. Am I getting root user? Am I successfully switched to root user? Perfect. Do I have the root user password? No, I don't have the root user password. I have the current user password. The current user password I have mentioned. I have successfully switched it to root user. We have a command called who am I. We have a command called who am I, which will show you the current user. Currently, we have successfully switched it to root user. That is the power of sudo. When you're working with Linux, you may not run some commands because of insufficient permissions, because of insufficient privileges, or you may not have the right permissions. In such case, if you want to run the command by force, like a super user instruction, you want to run it, just use the keyword sudo. So the command gets executed even though you don't have the right permissions. Clear? Clear about this? Perfect. So that's the power of sudo. So power of sudo is to run some commands even though you don't have the right permissions. In such case, you may have a doubt. If using sudo, we can do anything. I'm coming to your question. I guess your question, Mike. If using sudo, if you can do anything, so then where is the security? Any user can do anything. Am I right, Mike? Isn't it?
Yes.
If sudo is used to do anything, so there is no security. Every user can do anything by using the keyword sudo. You may have that question. The point is,
Yes.
the Sunil user comes with sudo privileges. Sunil user is coming with sudo privileges. That is the reason if I'm writing sudo, it works. If a user is not having sudo privileges, got it, Mike? If a user is
Yes.
not having sudo privileges, so even though he uses the word sudo, it will not work.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the key. Got it?
Yes.
Perfect. So sudo, thank you. So the
Yes.
sudo is a powerful command which helps you to run even though you may not have the right permissions or privileges, but still the command gets executed. Perfect. So we have successfully switched it to root user. So what did we learn? We have learned how can we switch from one user to other user. Next, I have one question to Mike again. Could you please, I am asking you to unmute. Okay,
Yes,
Mike, I have one question now. Currently we're working with root user, am I right?
Yes.
Can we switch to Sunil user again?
Yes, we can.
So can you tell me the command?
I can put
Switch user, SU. Mention the username you want to switch.
Sunny. Yes, Sunny.
Perfect. Will it ask for password?
No.
So participants, I have successfully switched to Sunil user. You can confirm it by using the command called who am I. Yes, we are able to successfully switch to Sunil user. And to our surprise, it is not prompted for password. My dear friends, have you observed? It is not prompting for password because we are switching from high level user to low level user. Are you understanding? Mike, did you understand? We are switching from high level user to
Yes.
low level user. We are switching from root user to Sunil user. So it does not pass for password. But the vice versa, if you want to switch from low level user to high level user. So when you want to switch from Sunil user to root user, when you want to switch from $prompt to hash prompt, in such case, obviously it will ask for password. Or if you want to switch from one user to other user, then also it will ask for password. But password will not be asked for the root user because root user can do anything. Got it, Mike? Thank you.
Yes, correct.
So I hope you have experienced how can we switch from one user to other user. We have a command called SU, stands for switch user, which helps you to switch from one user to other user. Okay, and that's how you can navigate between the users. We have a command called who am I, which will return the current user using which you're working. That's good. Let's move on. What's the next point? To know the current date, pretty simple, a very simple command. We have a command called date, which will return the current date, okay, as per the Indian time. That's fine. So which helps you to know the return date. Next, the most important point, understanding the file permissions. Understanding the file permissions. So I'm sure most of you have a lot of confusion with respect to understanding the file permissions. Okay, so let's learn. If you're clear in understanding the file permissions, then only changing becomes easy. Changing the file permissions is easy only when you are very clear in understanding the file permissions. Let's be clear in understanding the file permissions. Once we are clear in understanding the file permissions, then we learn how can we change the file permissions. Let's proceed. Let's clear the screen. I want to see a list of all the files. Long list. I want to see a list of all the files along with its permissions. Okay. So these are the list of all the files as well as permissions. Okay. Now, one more important point. I want to have a quick discussion with one of the participants. Anybody wants to just talk to me, please raise your hand. I want to have a quick discussion with respect to an example. Anybody wants to speak to me, please raise your hand. Perfect. Good morning, Ramesh.
Good morning, Sunil. How are you
Okay.
doing?
Doing well, thank you. I have a simple question.
Okay,
What is F3?
it's a file.
Thank you. What is F6?
Same
What
file.
is D5?
It's a directory.
Okay. How are you identifying? My question.
You can you can identify with the color change also.
Perfect. Participants, F3 is a file, whereas D5 is a directory. We are identifying using colors. Generally, F10 is the latest file, that's fine. F3 and the colors files are represented in white and black, whereas the directories are generally represented in blue color. Good. Now, my dear friends, assuming the terminal is black and white, everything is black and white. Ramesh, I understand that everything, the monitor or the terminal, everything is black and white. Okay. In such case, we cannot depend on color to identify whether it is a file or a directory. Am I right, Ramesh?
Correct.
In such case, the way we need to identify whether a value is a file or a directory, we have an option called ls-l. We have learned this, my dear friends. ls-l
Yes.
will give you long list. It will give you the date and time when the file has been created. We know the size of the file, the permissions, and we know this. We have learned it in the previous session. Long list will give you more information. In this result, if the first character is D, that means it is a directory.
Directory.
If the first character is hyphen, that means it is a file. In the ls-l option, the first character is used to identify whether a value is a file or a directory. Am I right, Ramesh? So you
Correct.
can see F3, the first character is a hyphen. Am I right? So it is a file.
Mhm.
And these are
File.
all videos, templates, public music. These are all Ds. These stands for directories. So participants, now you know the importance of the first character. What is the importance of the first character? First character is used to identify whether a value is a file or a directory. Perfect. Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, so we are very clear with the first value. Let's work out with the rest of all the values. We have something like RWX, R hyphen X, considering the last value, R hyphen X. Okay, R hyphen X. So what is this? Okay, let's try to understand. In Linux, there are three types of permissions. Okay, in Linux, there are three types of permissions. Read, in Linux, there are three types of permissions: read, write, execute. A file or a directory. In this session, when I say file, it also applies to directory. When I say file is having three types of permissions, we have to understand that the directory, it applies for directory also. So there are three types of permissions: read, write, execute. Read is represented with letter R, representation. Write is represented with letter W, and execute is represented with letter X. So there are three types of permissions: read, write, execute. Perfect. Okay. Now, there are three types of users in Linux. There are three types of users: owner, group, others. There are three types of users: owner, group, and others. Okay, let's say if we have created a file, we become the owner of the file. Okay, for example, we have created a file. I'm creating a file just now. Touch. I'm creating. I'm creating a new file using touch command. Touch. Let's say I'm creating a file with the name something like F8. I've created a file. So who is the owner of the file? So this is the currently I'm working with Sunil user. This is the username. You get the username in the prompt. So owner of the file is Sunil. Okay. So the three types of users. Owner of the file. There's something called group. We can create a group of users can be we can create a group. So there's something called group, there's something called others. Okay, so let's say a particular user, if it is not in a group, is called as others. We'll have a complete detailed discussion about how to create a group, how to use, how to add members to the group. So we'll see that, but there are three types of users: owner, group, and others. Okay, now that we have to understand total 9 letters. You can see here 1 2 3 1 2 3 and 1 2 3. We have to understand 9 letters. We have to understand 9 letters. 1 2 3. So dot is just a pattern. So total we have to understand these 9 letters. Out of these 9 letters, first three letters first three letters will represent the permission given to owner of the file. First three letters will represent the permission given to owner of the file. The next three letters will represent the permission given to group. The next three letters will represent the permission given to others. 3 plus 3 plus 3, 9. Total 9 characters. Total 9 characters. Consider the file ls-l. You get long list. I don't want all the okay. So consider the file f8. Consider the file f8. What are the values? rw hyphen, rw hyphen, r hyphen hyphen. Let's take a note. rw hyphen, rw hyphen, r hyphen hyphen. That's what we have, right, for the file. But which file we are considering? Let's open a notepad here. Can we open a notepad here? In Linux. Perfect. In Linux, it is called as text editor. Perfect. We'll be using this for understanding more care. Considering the file f8, let's increase the font size. Let's increase the font size, fonts and colors. Right now it is regular 12. Let's change to font size. Let's change to 16 for better visibility. Perfect. Now the font size has been changed to 16. That's good. Click on OK. Okay. Considering the file f8, what are the 9 values we are having? Read, write, hyphen, read, write, hyphen, read, hyphen, hyphen. These are for which file? This is for the file. We are taking an example for the file f8. The file f8 currently is having these permissions rwa hyphen, rw hyphen, r hyphen hyphen. The first three characters will indicate the permission given to owner of the file. The first three characters will indicate the permissions given to owner. That means owner can read the file, owner can write the data, owner cannot execute the file. Are you understanding? So this is how you have to understand. Owner can read, owner can write, owner cannot execute. We don't have X permission. Execute is represented with letter X. Coming to group, group can also read, group can write, but group cannot execute. Coming to others, the next three letters represent the permissions given to others. Others can read, others cannot write, and others cannot execute. 1 minute, please. Others can read, others cannot write the data into the file F8, others cannot execute. So this is how you have to be very clear in understanding the file permissions. The total, there are 9 characters. First 3 characters will indicate the permissions given to owner of the file. The next 3 characters will indicate the permission given to group. The next 3 characters will indicate the permission given to others. The 3 types of permissions: read, write, execute. Am I clear? Please respond in the chat. Okay. Mr. Anthony, good morning. I can see your hand raised. You are now allowed to unmute. If you have no questions, please drop your hand. So my dear friends, am I clear in explaining you? Please respond in the chat box. There are 3 types of permissions: read, write, execute, and there are 3 types of total 9 characters. First 3 characters will indicate the permission given to owner. Next 3 characters will indicate the permission given to group. The next 3 characters will indicate the permission given to others. Super. Perfect. So as we are now clear in achieving the first milestone of understanding the file permissions, now let's move ahead and learn how can we change the file permissions. Let's proceed and understanding the file, changing the file permissions. Changing the file permissions can be done in 2 ways. Changing the file permissions can be done in 2 ways. I'm discussing about the first way of changing the file permissions, that is by numerical notation. I want to discuss about the first way of changing the file permission by using the numerical notation. Okay, in numerical notation, read permission is represented with 4, number 4. Write permission is represented with number 2. Execute permission is represented with number 1. This is the numerical notation, 4 to 1. We have 3 types of permissions: read, write, execute. Read is represented with number 4, write is represented with number 2, and execute is represented with number 1. As we now know about the numerical notation, let's take an example. Considering the file F8, consider the file F8. Currently F8 is having read, write hyphen, read, write hyphen, read hyphen hyphen. Am I right? That's what we have checked it. Considering the file F8, read, write hyphen, read, write hyphen, read hyphen hyphen. Yes. Considering the file F8, this is the current permissions. Now what I want, this is the current permissions. Let's copy. This is the current permissions. Now what I want to do, I don't want to disturb the permissions for group. I do not want to disturb the permission of others. Let's keep it as it is. Coming to owner of the file. Coming to owner of the file. Right now, owner is having only 2 permissions. I want to give all the 3 permissions: read, write, execute. I want to change the permissions of owner. Currently, owner is having only 2 permissions. I want to give all the 3 permissions to owner. Coming to group, I don't want to disturb the group. Group, let's have it as it is. I don't want to disturb the permissions for others. Let's have as it is. This is what I want in the file F8. Did you understand the requirement? This is the current permissions for the file F8. I don't want to change the permissions of group. I don't want to change the permissions of others. Let's have as it is. I just want to change the permission of owner. Currently, owner is having only 2 permissions. I want to give all the 3 permissions. This is what I want for the file F8. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Can we do it? Yes, we can. By using the command called chmod, stands for change mode. The command to change the permissions is chmod, change mode. So we have to use the command change mode command, which helps you to change the permissions. Okay, look at the way I write the command. chmod, change mode. First, coming to owner. I want to have a talk. When we discuss, the concepts will be much more clear. Who wants to talk to me? Please raise your hand with respect to this particular example of changing the file permissions for the file F8. Who wants to talk to me? Please raise your hand. Perfect. Good morning, Sai Kumar. How are you doing today?
Yeah, hi Sunil, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So this is the requirement, Sai Kumar. As you know, we want to change the permissions of F8. Am I right? We
Yes.
don't want to disturb the group and others. Let's have as this. We want to change the permission of owner. How many permissions we want to give to owner?
3 permissions,
Three
read, write,
permissions. Read,
execute.
write, execute. Read, write, execute is nothing but 4 plus
2
2
plus 1,
plus
7.
1. 7 represents all permissions.
All permissions, yes.
Read, write, execute. You want all permissions. So add it 4 to 1. So it gives you 7. 7 represent all permissions. Coming to group. Group, how many
6.
permissions you want? Only
Read,
it's
write.
2 permissions. Read, write. Read, write is nothing but 4 plus 2. That is nothing but
6.
coming to others. For others, we want only one permission. That is
4.
read. Read is represented with number
4.
4. And mention the file name which you want to apply. I want to apply for the file F8. So this will be the command. Participants, this will be the command to achieve the requirement of changing the file permissions for the file F8. So let's do that. Let's do that. chmod, change mode 764 for the file F8. Perfect. The command has been executed. So ls-l. So Sai ls-l to verify whether the files has been changed or not, considering the file F8. Previously, F8 is having only read write. Now, are you having all the permissions?
Yes.
Read write, execute, and group
yes.
and others as is. Thank you very much, Sai. Thank you for supporting me.
Yeah, thank
So,
you.
participants, did we able to successfully change the permissions? Yes. Did we able to change the permissions? Okay. Perfect. So, Ramesh, this time I will be running one command. Okay. Ramesh, can you give me the output of this? Are you ready?
I have a doubt. See, I didn't get you. What is that 764? I have a doubt. That's the reason I
Okay,
raised that.
good. I have one question. Did you understand the requirement?
Yes.
What is the requirement for the file F8?
Owner
Should
of the
have-
F8 needs to be changed.
Correct. How many permissions you want owner to have?
Read, write, execute.
All the 3 permissions. Read is represented with number.
4.
Write for 2. Execute
2.
is 1.
1.
So you want all the permissions. So add it. 4 to 1 refers to 7.
Right. But 6
So when you
4?
write,
What is?
one minute. Let me come.
Okay.
I'm talking about this example only, right?
Okay.
Okay. So did you understand why am I using 7?
7, I got it.
Got it. Now your question is about
Yes.
6.
Right.
Right? The second 3 letters is represented for group, right?
Okay.
Group, how many permissions you want? As it is, read and write. That's all.
Okay.
For group, how many permissions you want? What permissions you want? You want read and write. Read
Right.
and write
Got
is
it.
nothing but 4 plus 2.
Okay.
Got it, Ramesh?
Got it.
And
Yes,
for
yes. Thank you
others,
so
what
much.
permission? 1 minute. For others, what permission you want? Only R.
Read.
So that means only 4. So
4.
Ramesh, I hope it is very
Okay.
clear. Now I'll be running one command. Ramesh, can you tell me the output of this? What happens?
For all the user, full permission.
Full
Read,
permissions
write.
to owner, full
Yes.
permissions to group, full permissions to others.
Yes.
Am I right? Let's run this,
Right.
Ramesh.
Yeah.
The command is change mode 777. Sorry. The command is change mode 777 for the file.
F8.
Perfect. Let's verify ls-l. So Ramesh, for the file F8, please observe, are you having all permissions to owner, all permissions to group, all permissions to others? Clear, Ramesh?
Awesome. Awesome.
I
Thank
want
you
to
so much.
continue the discussion. Is that okay with you, Ramesh?
No issues. I'm
Okay.
very happy the way you teaching.
So 7 represents what permission? Tell me. Read,
7 full
write,
permission.
full permissions. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you guess what 6 will represent?
Read and write.
Read and write. That is read, write. That's all. No, execute. Now, can you tell me what 5 will represent?
Read and execute.
Read and execute. So R hyphen execute. Am I right? 4,
Right. Read.
read, no write, no execute. 3,
Right. Write and execute.
so hyphen WX. Am I right? 2,
Right. That is right. Hyphen F.
1.
Okay.
Sorry. 2 means right. So hyphen W. Sorry. Hyphen W hyphen. Am I right?
Right.
1,
It's execute.
only
Hyphen
execute.
hyphen
No
above.
read permission, no write permission, only execute permission.
Execute.
0, no permissions at all.
No problem.
No permissions at all. Change mode. Ramesh, 707 for the file F8. What happens?
Owner full permission and group no permission and others full permission.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect. You are expert.
Because of you. I'm really.
ls hyphen L. Can you see full permissions to owner, full permissions to group, and no permissions to others? Now, Ramesh, can you play around whatever you want? Okay. Are you in a position to use this 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1 and combination? Can you apply any which you want? Am I right, Ramesh?
Yes.
Can I
Yes.
tell you one more?
That is
Shall I one more example? Change mode.
5, 2, 3.
5, 2, 3 for the file F8. 5
Okay.
means owner will have
Read
only.
and
Please proceed. Please proceed.
is the owner having only read and group no, none and
Sorry. 5 means what?
5 minutes uh,
Read and
read.
execute.
Right.
So owner will have read and execute.
Execute.
Group will have only write.
Right.
Others will have write and execute.
Right. Right.
Perfect. As discussed, owner is having read and execute. Others are having only write because 2 means only write. And others, so group is having only write, others are having write and execute. Now, Ramesh, using this combination of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, are you in a position to play around with the files and the permissions of the files? Are you in a position to change, add, and remove the permission
Yeah.
whenever you want? Perfect. Now, tell me, Ramesh, is it easy or difficult?
Very easy because we never know.
I have seen many
Okay.
participants getting confused about this 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody can be simply manage, happily change the permissions using the numerical notation. My dear friends, please respond in the chat box. Am I clear in explaining you the numerical notation? Am I clear in explaining you how exactly we can add and remove the permissions to the required files? What else you want? Perfect. So as we are done with the numerical notation, there's one more approach. Okay. So let's work out with the second approach of changing the permissions, that is alphabetical notation. Whichever you feel comfortable, you please follow it. Finally, we should able to change. No one will ask you that follow this particular notation or follow alphabetical notation. Whichever you feel comfortable, please follow this. So Ramesh, I'm sure you are happy with numerical notation, but let's go ahead and understand the second approach, that is alphabetical notation.
Yep.
In alphabetical notation, we have 3 types of users, like owner, group, others. Owner is represented with letter U. Group is very easy. G. O is also very easy. Others is represented with O. This is alphabetical notation. That's all. There's no 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Owner is represented with letter U. Group is represented with letter G. O is others is represented with letter O. Okay. Whenever you want to add the permission, use plus symbol. Whenever you want to add the permission, use plus symbol. Whenever you want to remove the permission, obviously you have to subtract, use the negative symbol. Plus for adding the permissions, minus for removing the permissions. That's all you need to remember. As we know about the alphabetical notation, let's get into the practicals of how can we change the file permissions considering the file F3. Consider the file F3, look at the current permissions. Let me take the current permissions for the file F3. Read, write hyphen. Read, write hyphen. Sorry. Consider the file F3, read, write hyphen, and read hyphen hyphen. This is the current permissions for the file F3. Who wants to talk to me in understanding the file permissions with respect to second notation that is called alphabetical notation? It's just a discussion. Please raise your hand. We are trying to understand the alphabetical notation. Yes, Prajwal, good morning. Thank you for raising your hand. Can you hear me? We cannot hear you, Prajwal. Please check your mic settings. For the file F3, please check your mic settings. For the file F3, who else wants to have a talk with me? Please raise your hand. For the file F3, can you hear me, Prajwal?
Yes, Sunil.
Thank you, Prajwal. For the file F3, currently we are having the current permissions. Am I right? Read, write, execute. Read, write, read, write hyphen, read, write hyphen, read, write for the file F3. Am I right?
Yeah.
Now, the requirement is, let me explain you the requirement. Perfect. Read, write, execute. I want to change the permission of owner. Owner is currently having 2 permissions. I want to give all the 3 permissions for the owner. Group, I don't want to disturb. Let's have as is. Others also, I don't want to disturb. That's have as is for the file F3. This is what I want to do. These are the current permissions of the file F3. I don't want to disturb the group and others. Let's have as it is. I just want to disturb the permissions of owner. Currently, owner is having only 2 permissions. I want to give all the 3 permissions. Am I right, Prajwal? This is the requirement. So whenever you want to change the permissions, we have a command called. We have a command called change mode. Am I right?
Yes.
Perfect. Now I have one question to you. To which user you want to change the permission?
It's the owner.
Owner. Owner is represented with which letter?
U.
U. So mention the U. Now for owner, do you want to add the permission or do you want to remove the permission?
We want to add the permission.
So what sign we have to use?
So R plus W.
No.
So okay.
What
Or it will
sign?
just be
Plus
just
for
be
adding the
plus.
permission and minus for removing the permission. Now tell me, do you want to add the permission or remove the permission?
Add the permission.
So what sign we have to use?
Plus
Plus. What permission you want to add?
execute.
That's all. For the file F3. Don't worry about group and others. You don't need to mention about group and others. Because we don't want to disturb group and others. Let's have as this. We want to mention only owner. Or stick to owner. So here you are for owner. You are adding the for owner. You are adding the execute permission. That's all. So let's try this, Prajwal. Practically change mode. For owner, I want to add the permission. What permission you want to add? Execute permission. For which file you want to do it? For the file F3. ls hyphen L. Now for the file F3. Now did we add the permission? Perfect. Prajwal, did we do it? Yes.
Yeah,
Now I want to remove the permission which I just now added. Can you tell me how can we remove the permission which we have just now added?
That will be chmod U minus X F3.
For the owner, I want to remove the permission execute. For the file F3, we are done. ls-l. Now, are you able to remove the permission which you have just now added? Perfect. Is it easy, Prajwal?
Yeah, it should be 7.
Okay, so let's try with one more example.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is the current permissions again. Prajwal, this is the current permission for the file F3, read write hyphen, read write hyphen. I don't want to disturb the owner. I want to disturb the group. Now requirement is read write hyphen. For the group, I want to remove the write permission. So it should be R hyphen hyphen. For others, I want to add the execute permission. R hyphen execute for the file F3. Before framing the command, let's try to understand the question. We don't want to disturb our owner. Okay. We want to change the permission of group. For group, do you want to add the permission or remove the permission?
Remove the permission.
What permission we want to remove?
Write permission.
Okay. For others also, do you want to add the permission or remove the permission?
We want to add the permission.
What permission we want to remove? Execute. So let's frame the command. The command is as is. Change mode. Now you have to, don't worry about group because group we are not disturbing. We have to think from the, sorry, owner we are not
group
disturbing.
here.
So we need to disturb the group. So group is represented with which letter?
G.
G. For group, are we adding or removing?
Removing.
What permission you are removing?
Write permission.
And then separate with comma.
Hmm.
Comma is a separator. Next, think of others.
Others.
Other is represented with which letter?
O.
For others, are you adding the permission, removing the permission?
Adding permission.
So what symbol we have to use?
Plus.
What permission you want to add?
Execute.
For the file F3.
F3.
Let's try. Change mode. For group, I want to remove. So minus what permission I want to remove? W, comma. For others, I want to add the permission. What permission you want to add? Execute permission. For which file you want to do it? For the file F3. I think we are done. ls-l. So let's try for the file F3. Did we reach it? So yes, R hyphen hyphen, as well as we are able to add the permission to others. Now tell me, is it easy? Prajwal?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
What else you want? For adding plus symbol, for removing negative symbol, okay, what permission you want, you have to mention that. That's all, Prajwal.
Yeah.
So both are easy. Numerical notation as well as
and
alphabetical notation. What else? Whatever you feel comfortable, please follow the notation. But finally, we should be able to be very comfortable working and changing the permissions of the file. Thank you, Prajwal, for the support. Perfect. Perfect. So you have to be very comfortable understanding the file permissions. There are many people who feel that alphabetical permissions, alphabetical notation is easy. There are some people who they feel that numerical notation is easy, whichever you feel comfortable. But finally, you should be in a position to change the file permissions as per the requirement. Perfect. So this is a very, very important session. Yesterday is all about basics of creating files, creating directories, removing files, removing the directories. And this session, day by day, we will be adding more and more concepts. Please respond in the chat box. Are you happy with the today's session? So we are now discussed about important permissions, understanding the important permissions, and how can we, Salma, thank you very much, understanding the file permissions and changing the file permissions, which are very, very important. Perfect. So this is our plan for today's session. I hope you have enjoyed. This is day 3. This is day 3, my dear participants. Welcome to day 3. We have done with day 3. I hope every day we are adding more and more concepts. Saturday, Sunday, we will not have any sessions. It's a weekend, so we will not have any sessions. The continuation of day 3 will be on day 4, on Monday. Let us stop the chat. Thank you very much. The day 4 will be on Monday session. Monday will deal with package management. How can we install the required packages? Okay, so how can we install the required packages, repositories, much more? VI editor, how can we edit the files? Okay, Salma, good morning.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Sunil, just I want to understand how we can download that software. And
Are you in the WhatsApp group?
Okay, okay.
Are you in the WhatsApp group?
Okay, yesterday I missed that session, so just wanted to know how to configure that VMware software.
It's not yesterday, it is day before
Oh,
yesterday.
day before yesterday. Yeah, I attended. Second one,
Okay.
I missed it.
So in the WhatsApp group, there is a link where you can download the VMware software as well as you can download the ISO file using which you can install it. There is a video also in the YouTube channel or day one video also. Follow this video, create your own infrastructure, and then practice Linux. Okay, Salma?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it for today's session. Have a nice weekend. And tomorrow, Monday is also demo. Monday is the last demo. Monday is the last demo. Where we learn more. Every day we are adding more and more concepts. And once you feel comfortable, please register because the meeting link will change after Monday. Tosin, good evening.
Yeah, yeah, good evening. Yeah. So is there gonna be class tomorrow?
There is no session tomorrow.
Okay, today is Thursday. Okay.
In India, it's Friday, so there will be no session on Saturday and Sunday. That means you will have session on Sunday morning, Sunday at midnight, I think so. Yeah, for you
Okay. So
in US.
okay. So all right. So
Okay.
there is a demo again for Monday.
Monday is the demo again. The continuation of today will be demo. Monday is the last demo. The meeting link is the same. Okay. But after
Okay.
Monday, you have to enroll in case if you want to continue, you please make the payment so that you will not miss any more sessions. But Monday is also the demo.
Okay. All right. So,
Thank you.
but you don't post. You only post your demo videos on YouTube, not all the sections, right?
Only the first 3 sessions will be posted.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Ramesh.
Sunil, actually, see, you are taking everyday classes, no? If I enroll this one, will we get a recorded session? Because in
Yes.
future, okay,
You will have lifetime access to the recordings. Okay.
okay, lifetime is it?
Lifetime.
Not limited.
No. We'll have. We have a website. It's like Udemy. We have our own website. You have to log in and play the videos. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Then we can, how much time we need, we can
It's a lifetime access, as I
budget.
told you.
Oh,
Thank
okay, okay, thank you.
Mike, very late for you. I can see your hand raised, Mike. Any questions?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. My question is when I power off my VMware is asking me to connect to the network, but I just click, and then I we would come on. Does it always come that way?
So what you have to do, you're with respect to the virtual machine which you have configured. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Go to VM. Can you see we have an option called settings?
Yes.
Network adapter.
Okay.
Please mark as NAT. That's all.
Oh,
You have to do it. Okay.
okay.
If that's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Sai.
Yeah, good morning, Sunil. So regarding my lab environment, I'm trying to power on that Linux Red Hat, but it was stucking at some point.
Now, when you powering on, you have to click on the cursor on the black window.
Yeah, I have clicked on it. I mean, it will be checking, right? Like till 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, that one is like it's just pausing in the middle of somewhere. When I hit enter multiple times, again it will process for much more, and again
And
it will
finally, it
stop.
gets started.
But no, it's not starting only, Sunil. I have removed and did from the scratch itself, but still the same.
What ISO file you're using? The same ISO file which we have
Yeah,
put.
yeah, same one, same one.
What is the hardware configuration you have mentioned? The RAM.
It's yeah. First I mentioned 4 GB.
What is your actual lap? You are installing on laptop or desktop?
It's laptop.
How much is the laptop configuration memory?
It's a 256 GB
Hard drive.
SD. Right? Yeah, SSD.
What about the RAM?
It's 8 GB.
Allocate 4 GB to the virtual machine. How much
Okay.
RAM you have allocated?
It's a 4 GB only. But it's shown not enough memory space, so it asked me to mention 3592. So I did that.
Okay, that's okay, no problem. Try
Yeah.
one more time, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Or if you're getting an error, send the screenshot to support@logiclabstack.com. You have our email address, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
We'll reply to you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes, when you're sending a mail, send the screenshot.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend, my dear friends. See you. Oh my God. Yes, I. Yeah.
No. No. I just by mistake.
Okay. Okay. See you on Monday. Have a nice weekend. In Monday we'll have the last demo where we'll continue more about Linux and have a good time. Thank you very much.